BYODs, CEO, managers, welcome to this business case presentation. Stan Yogide is my name and I'm the CIO of the company. My task today will be to walk you through the following 5 agenda displayed on the screen before you. You are all here today to listen to a business case and project proposal, and within 15 minutes, I will aim to provide you vital information about BYOD, share some experiences from companies that have implemented the strategy so far, introduce project BYOD to management, present to you detailed financial analysis and key figures, and finally, offer suggestions and recommendations for the project based on my overall analysis. First, a definition. BYOD means bring your own device. As defined by Oxford Dictionary, it is the practice of allowing the employees of an organization to use their own computers, smartphones, or other devices for work purposes, and the Macmillan Dictionary adds use of the devices on the organization's network. Now, every progressive company strives for efficiency improvement. Relating efficiency to BYOD, a current survey shows that 50% of IT managers have seen an increase in employee activity due to BYOD. There is a higher employee satisfaction rate, and 40% of college students, including 45% of current employees, would accept a lower paying job in order to reap the benefits of BYOD. We will get to some of the rationale behind these findings, but first, I must mention some of the benefits of BYOD while pointing out that it is not without risks. Most notable among the benefits include convenience and portability, flexibility and easy access of data. Potential risks range from access to too many unsafe applications due to private use of devices and greater unwillingness for supervision in the long term. Moving on to experiences from other companies, I'll start by referencing Mr. Sean Genoway, a senior IT service director for Citrix.com. He said, and I quote, "What makes BYOD successful is that we've stopped managing the device and we are now managing the service," unquote. When they rolled out Windows 7 to their 6,000 machines, it took 3 months. With a virtual app or desktop, you can manage one location, thereby saving a lot of time. And by the way, they also cut costs by 18% worldwide with their BYOD program. These cost savings stem from not performing the following tasks anymore: adding software, adding updates to desktops, shipping machines back to employees, purchasing warranties, and disposing of devices. Needless to mention that BYOD adoption also meant that there was very little or no need for hardware support from the IT department of this company. Now, some common issues experienced with devices range from slow connections to dropped connections while using the company networks. Without doubt, BYOD offers a lot of advantages, which include convenience, efficiency increase, reduced absenteeism, less need for company real estate, and disadvantages like difficulty to maintain privacy of data saved via cloud computing, for some employees, difficulty to separate business from pleasure, and for the company, liability for loss of private data. Okay, so let me turn your attention to BYOD infrastructure. Clearly, we cannot underscore the importance of solid infrastructure in order to ensure uninterrupted BYOD usage. First of all, the infrastructure needs to be part of a strategy, specifically designed according to company security needs. As we can see from the example on the diagram, BYOD infrastructure can be designed to prohibit certain devices, limit certain services, trust and grant full access to IT managed user devices, and be able to embrace multiple devices per user. The infrastructure, mainly VDI, includes hard and software components, which help users to remotely connect, easily with adequate security and speed. Some examples include routers, wireless LAN access points, catalyst switches, etc. Now, what are some of the steps we need to take to ensure that BYOD implementation works smoothly? First, it is necessary to have a proper understanding of cultural factors in our local countries of operation, which can affect BYOD policy. An example will be such issues as sharing of private devices, which contain official data with family members. This leads us to the next step, which is to establish a clear and comprehensive BYOD policy. Such policy should incorporate, for example, which employees are to be included in our BYOD plan, acceptable use of mobile devices while on company time, and other factors as stated on the screen. Now, let's assume that we have already put a solid policy in place and agreed to proceed with the project. In order to ensure a solid BYOD infrastructure, it is necessary to build an application that's ubiquitous on any device, virtualize the infrastructure, make it easily accessible from almost everywhere, and then build automated processes with consideration of user requirements. Moving on to the financial analysis of BYOD project. A look at this table presents us with very promising figures. I must point out that these figures are calculated based on the company's previous year gross earnings of $2 billion. For the calculations, I have used the standard cost benefit model of analysis. Total benefits for the project will be close to 115 million for 5 years, which represents a 5.7% increase in earnings over the period. We have a return on investment of 112%, an internal rate of return of 113%, and also the net present value of the project is positive at nearly $52 million. Our profitability index is equally close to 2, which is almost double the minimum of 1. Our non-risk adjusted cost and benefit factors, which have been summarized to the items you see on the table. The calculations are based on a projected BYOD adoption rate of 25% in the first year, 40% in the second year, and a maximum of 50% by the third year. The most significant costs for the project are hard and software acquisition and also maintenance costs. Acquisition costs will immediately be high but would decrease significantly as we focus more on upgrades of existing facilities. On the other hand, our maintenance costs will increase as we upgrade to accommodate more devices. Looking at the benefit items, we will have huge savings from capital expense reductions as the company moves away from costs of acquiring and maintaining electronic devices and IT support for all the employees. Improvement in productivity stems from two projections. First, I project that we will gain an average of 1 hour extra work per day due to BYOD usage, be it from responding to emails during lunch breaks, on the public transport to and from work, and relaxing on the sofa at home in the evenings. Second, I project a 40% reduction of sick days, which is currently an average of 7.3 days per year. This assumption is supported by surveys, which pointed out the willingness of employees to take less sick days if they had more flexibility at work. If necessary, the worksheet I use for the calculations is embedded in my journal for more detailed calculations in case you want to see them. I also carried out a sensitivity analysis showing 3 different scenarios for the project. Scenario 1 is the non-risk adjusted analysis that we have already seen in the previous slide. Scenario 2 is based on the assumption that hard and software acquisition costs increase by 10% due to external market forces. The effect of this 10% increase is an 8.2% increase in our total costs. Our key indicators, however, like return on investment, profitability index, IRR, and NPV, reduce slightly but still remain positive. On the other hand, Scenario 3 is based on the assumption that the maximum 50% of employees adopt BYOD from year 1. As you might remember, I projected 25% and 40% BYOD adoption rates for the first and second years. Now, with 50% usage rate for both years, we have a 14% increase in benefits, 17% increase in NPV, and an amazing increase to 2018% of internal rate of return. Now, mind you that this, with the attractiveness of BYOD based on surveys, reaching 50% usage rate in the first year is not a mere illusion. Looking at the cash flow chart, our net benefits cash flow for the non-risk adjusted projection peaks in 2016, while the negative cash flow from our costs begin to stabilize in 2016. Ladies and gentlemen here present, I've come to the end of my analysis and will now present you my own conclusions and recommendations. I have gathered huge knowledge while preparing this business case, coupled with my recent participation in a BYOD seminar, which I found quite educative. Over the past 2 to 3 decades, we have all witnessed the change to what we know as the paperless office, which totally transformed the way we work. At the time, implementation seemed too complex and costly, but we all know how much productivity increase we have seen as a result. I would equate BYOD today to that same transformation, and based on that, I hereby conclude as follows. If properly implemented, BYOD will be highly beneficial to the company's bottom line and employee satisfaction. The benefits of BYOD greatly outweigh the costs, and based on the used financial model, BYOD offers very high return on investment of 112% adjusted for risk. I humbly recommend to the BODs and management based on these financial projections to implement BYOD in the company, to conduct further internal study to determine if the implementation for the company should be global or by an initial trial with a specific country of operation, or if a test phase should be carried out within the company. Then, based on the findings, approve up to 54 million for global BYOD project in our company. In closing, here are some of the lessons I've learned while preparing this business case. There is a clear need to understand BYOD as a beneficial strategy without ignoring the potential risks it might pose to our regular work culture. We should also look beyond the benefits of BYOD to other companies, but rather focus on the usability in our different businesses with varying employee needs. Thus, it might be good for one business unit, but not for the other. We should strive towards a better understanding of some of the volatile costs that could be encountered during the project. Again, liquidity of BYOD project might be quite low, as most of the components will be designed and customized to company specification. Thus, liquidity might tell a different story from our profitability index, return on investment, and IRR. Furthermore, discount rate fluctuations might have very negative effects on the project. For example, an interest rate of 13% already results in a profitability index below 1, which is bad for the project. Bear in mind that the interest rate we use for the calculation is 10%. As well, there is a lot of buzz in the tech world that future mobile devices will have the capacity to do almost everything, which means that we will not need to carry or use several devices for different purposes. However, it is yet difficult to understand if this will have a positive or negative effect on BYOD costs. That is all. Thank you all for listening. I'm Stanley Ogide.